Somewhere in Asia, tucked between mountains, rivers, and borders that have shifted for thousands of years, there are places where myths feel less like stories told around a fire and more like living beings that breathe quietly in the dark. You don't see anything unusual at first, because these forests disguise their strangeness beneath layers of calm, stillness, and familiar shapes. All you notice are earth, air, and old pathways winding through the undergrowth in directions that seem logical at first glance, yet carry a faint sense of being guided by something older than human intention. But then the ground begins to hum, barely noticeable at first, like a pulse traveling through ancient roots buried deeper than memory itself. Light doesn't fall the way it should. Instead, it curves subtly around trunks and stones, bending as if bowing to an unseen presence watching from the edges of your vision. Leaves drift gently to the forest floor, but they land in precise, deliberate patterns that look almost like symbols, as though the forest is trying to write something only a few can understand. Somewhere in the distance, a call rises, elongated, trembling, and carrying a tone that doesn't match any known animal, sounding instead like something that belongs to a world just slightly out of reach. And in that moment, with your breath caught halfway in your chest, you suddenly feel as though you're standing inside a legend that has been waiting far longer than you have existed. Not the kind of legend inked into books or carved into temple walls, but one whispered from elder to child, passed across centuries by those who believe the forest itself chooses when and to whom it reveals its truth. It is a tale that does not shout. It waits patiently, selecting its listeners as carefully as it guards its secrets. These places aren't haunted in any traditional sense. Rather, they are alive with memory, carrying the weight of rituals, footsteps, and shadows that once moved here and never fully left. They do not warn you to stay away, nor do they extend a welcome, because welcome implies choice, and these forests operate on rules far older than human comfort. They simply exist in a state of deep, ancient silence, unchanged by the world that keeps rushing, burning, and rebuilding beyond their borders. And stepping into them feels less like exploring nature and more like walking directly into the warm, slow exhale of something vast, timeless, and quietly conscious. This is Asia's wild side, the forest you shouldn't walk alone. Aokigahara, Yamanashi Prefecture, Japan. Aokigahara sits like a vast, shadow-laden veil at the foot of Mount Fuji, its presence radiating an uncanny mixture of natural beauty and a quiet, unsettling power that instantly captures the imagination of anyone who approaches it. Formed centuries ago from the molten remains of Fuji's violent eruption, the forest still seems to pulse with the ancient volcanic heartbeat that once reshaped the entire region. Stepping into its depths feels less like entering a forest and more like crossing an invisible threshold where sunlight thins out and the familiar world recedes with every carefully measured step. Towering trees grow in unnervingly perfect formations, their straight trunks creating what look like natural corridor walls that seal visitors inside a realm separate from ordinary reality. The air, cool and damp, clings to your skin with a chill that seems older than the forest itself, almost as if the atmosphere remembers events lost to human history. Below the canopy, thick roots coil and twist across the volcanic ground like ancient serpents frozen mid-motion, turning even simple trails into knotty labyrinths. Wildlife appears only in brief, murmuring flashes, tiny movements, faint rustles, and quick shadows, like the forest is deliberately hiding more than it reveals. Many travelers report an eerie sensation that time slows here, as though Aokigahara bends the rhythm of the world to match its own deep, unchanging pulse. Sounds behave strangely. Footsteps, voices, even the snap of branches vanish instantly. absorbed by the porous volcanic rock beneath, creating an overwhelming sense of isolation. This unnatural silence has fed centuries of folklore claiming that the forest shelters wandering spirits searching endlessly for rest. Some visitors have spoken of dark silhouettes slipping between trees, dissolving into shadow before the mind can determine whether they were real or imagined. Others describe hearing soft tapping, distant footsteps, or faint whispers from directions where no living presence could possibly exist. As dust settles, many swear the forest begins to breathe, with fog drifting low, curling through the trees like a living entity moving with deliberate intention. Yet despite its spectral reputation, Aokigahara overflows with life. Tiny wildflowers bursting unexpectedly from black lava rock and towering cedars standing like ancient guardians. When sunlight occasionally pierces the canopy, it forms golden shafts filled with drifting dust that seem almost supernatural, as though the forest briefly reveals its gentler face. These rare, breathtaking moments feel carefully curated, like Aokigahara chooses what each visitor is allowed to witness. Farther inward, the ground becomes increasingly treacherous, riddled with hidden cracks, hollow lava tubes, and sudden drops disguised beneath leaves and tangled roots. Many cavities descend sharply into darkness, forming natural traps carved by cooling magma and virtually invisible to the untrained eye. Combined with magnetic anomalies that cause compasses to fail and a maze-like layout that loops endlessly, the forest can disorient even skilled hikers within minutes. Rescue teams constantly caution that getting lost here is far easier and far more dangerous than most visitors initially realize. Signs posted along marked trails urge travelers to turn back before straying too far. Reminders of the respect and caution this legendary forest demands. And yet, its beauty continues to lure adventurers, photographers, and curious souls hoping to experience one of the world's most enigmatic landscapes. Nearby formations like the Narasawa Ice Cave add to Aokigahara's surreal character, blending frigid air, deep tunnels, and glittering ice walls into an otherworldly contrast to the forest's darkness. Even the simplest clearing can feel unreal, suspended between tranquility and unease, as if time and nature are momentarily holding their breath. If you ever set foot on Aokigahara's trails, remember this essential travel tip. Always mark your path, stay on designated routes, and never wander off trail no matter how mesmerizing the forest may seem. Few forests on Earth embody such a powerful mix of wonder, danger, history, and mystery as Aokigahara, an unforgettable cornerstone of Asia's wild side, the forest you shouldn't walk alone. Sri Lanka rainforests. Sri Lanka. The weather changes first. A cool, unexpected breeze pushes through the dense tropical heat, carrying with it the unmistakable scent of rain-soaked foliage, as if the forest is exhaling before revealing its secrets. Then the light dims, slowly and deliberately, softened by distant clouds gathering above the island's mountainous spine, a quiet signal that the rainforest is drawing near. Follow this natural omen, and it leads you straight into the rainforests of Sri Lanka, home to some of the richest and most ancient biological realms in all of South Asia. These forests stretch across the island's central highlands, humid southwestern lowlands, and knife-edge ridges shaped by tectonic forces older than human memory. The climate remains warm, wet, and rhythmic, fed by monsoon cycles that drench the land and allow vegetation to flourish in relentless abundance. Towering layers of canopy rise in stacked tiers, forming entire worlds above the ground where countless species live, hunt, nest, and die without ever touching the forest floor. Beneath this green ceiling lies a shadowed understory packed with ferns, palms, orchids, and vine draperies that thrive in the dim, filtered light. The forest floor stays dark, cool, and constantly moist, home to rare amphibians glistening with rain, neon-colored insects darting between leaves, and shy mammals moving in rapid flashes of motion. Rivers carve their way through the forest like shimmering silver threads, carrying water from icy mountain springs to marshlands teeming with life. Waterfalls plunge from hidden cliffs with thunderous force, creating billowing clouds of mist that settle into the valleys like silk, drifting on invisible currents. Endemic animals claim these forests as their sanctuary. The elusive Sri Lankan leopard prowls under the cover of shadows, its near-silent movements astonishing in such dense terrain. Purple-faced leaf monkeys leap through branches with a dancer's grace, their sharp calls echoing across ridgelines like voices from another world. The air thrums with insect life, cicadas pulsing in hypnotic crescendos, beetles clicking like tiny gears, crickets weaving sound into layered nocturnal rhythms. Local communities speak of forest deities who guard hidden pools, sacred groves, and secret trails, entities to whom travelers show quiet respect. Some hikers claim they've heard rhythmic drumming deep in the forest long after all human activity has vanished for the night, as though ancient rituals never truly ended. Others whisper about footsteps pacing them from the darkness, always close, always steady, yet never revealing their source. But beyond whispered legends lie very real dangers. Sudden mudslides triggered by monsoon downpours, razor-sharp rocks hidden under vines, and slick slopes where one misstep can lead to disaster. Wildlife encounters carry risk as well. Elephants often wander near forest edges, and certain venomous snakes blend seamlessly into fallen leaves. Fog can roll in without warning, swallowing the trail in seconds and leaving even experienced trekkers disoriented in a world of shifting white. River currents surge unpredictably, especially after silent rainfall deep in the mountains. Still, between these challenges, the rainforest unveils breathtaking wonders, giant trunks wrapped in velvet moss, brilliant flowers glowing under fractured beams of sunlight, and panoramic views revealing endless green ridges fading into mist. The rainforest smells ancient and alive, a heady blend of rain, moss, rich soil, and slow decaying wood. Streams sparkle beneath sunlit openings, their surfaces catching the vibrant flashes of dragonflies dancing above the water. Travel tip: wear long, moisture-wicking clothing. The humidity is relentless, and the insects here are tenacious, especially in the understory. Sri Lanka's rainforests remain a sanctuary where life grows fiercely and beautifully, a living tapestry of complexity and mystery unmatched by almost anywhere else on Earth. Arunachal Pradesh forests, Arunachal Pradesh, India. In the far northeastern edge of India, where the Himalayas rise like a jagged crown carved by ancient storms, the forests of Arunachal Pradesh unfurl across the land in a sweeping tapestry of emerald shadows, drifting mist, and untamed silence that feels almost sacred. These forests lie at the rare meeting point of prehistoric mountains and restless monsoon winds, forming a world that seems forever suspended between earth and sky, neither fully grounded nor fully celestial. Shaped over millions of years by shifting tectonic plates and the slow violence of geological time, the region folds into staggering ridges, deep ravines, and roaring rivers that crash through the landscape with a force untouched by human hands. As travelers ascend from the humid foothills to the higher ranges, the air itself seems to shift personality, growing sharper, thinner, and laced with a cold clarity that hints at the Tibetan plateau waiting beyond the peaks. Clouds descend so low that they glide through the treetops, weaving between branches like pale, wandering spirits searching for their ancient paths. Moss-covered trunks rise impossibly high, stretching upward with such urgency it feels as though the forest is trying to outrun time itself and touch the sun first. The forest floor hides layers of hidden worlds, orchids blooming from nowhere, medicinal plants with uses known only to tribal shamans, and dense undergrowth that conceals creatures moving softly in the dark. Wildlife flows through this landscape with a kind of mystical stealth. Red pandas perch quietly in trembling bamboo groves, clouded leopards slipping into shadow as effortlessly as smoke dissolving into air. Birds erupt in sudden flashes of color, their calls slicing through the silence like ancient melodies that have echoed across these valleys since before humanity had a name for them. Local tribes, some among the oldest cultural groups in Asia, speak of guardian spirits who watch the forest with eternal vigilance. Stories preserved long before maps, borders, or written history existed. Legends tell of glowing eyes watching from deep within the foliage, not threatening, but observing with a neutral, inhuman curiosity that makes travelers wonder who is truly exploring whom. Other tales speak of sacred trees that whisper secrets at dusk, their leaves rustling in patterns that persist even when the air is completely still. Along hidden mountain trails, shrines appear without warning, simple weathered structures draped in prayer flags that flutter like coded messages meant only for the sky. Yet for all its breathtaking beauty, Arunachal Pradesh demands caution, for the land itself can shift like a living creature beneath your feet. During monsoon season, peaceful trails transform into slick, treacherous passages where a single careless step can lead to unforgiving drops hidden by fog. The canopy here is so thick it blocks GPS signals and muffles sound, turning navigation into a challenge of instinct, experience, and respect for the land. Fog moves with startling speed, rolling in like a sentient force capable of swallowing visibility within seconds, leaving travelers disoriented in a world that no longer resembles itself. Local guides, with generations of inherited knowledge, often warn that each valley has its own temperament, and the forest never reveals its rules all at once. Remote stretches hide wildlife known for their unpredictable behavior, especially during breeding seasons when instinct overrides caution. Streams that appear gentle and inviting can swell into violent torrents after invisible rainfall miles away, catching travelers off guard without a single warning sound. But those who enter with respect and patience are rewarded with sights almost impossible to describe. Sunbeams slicing through morning mist, waterfalls exploding into drifting clouds, and Himalayan ridges glowing molten gold beneath the first touch of dawn. The air feels ancient, heavy with the stories of mountains older than civilization, as though each breath is a sip of time itself. Hidden trails lead to staggering overlooks where entire valleys unfold below, like living paintings, vast, layered, and impossibly still. Essential travel tip: always trek with a trusted local guide. Their familiarity with sudden weather shifts, wildlife behavior, and safe routes can turn a dangerous trek into a safe and unforgettable journey. Arunachal Pradesh isn't just a forest. It is a living frontier stitched together by myth, danger, and awe. A place where the world feels both prehistoric and eternally alive. Borneo rainforest, Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei. The Borneo rainforest sprawls across Malaysia's Sabah and Sarawak, Indonesia's immense Kalimantan, and the compact yet astonishingly lush territory of Brunei, forming an enormous, uninterrupted wilderness that pulses with ancient life in every direction. Entering the forest feels like walking into a sealed chamber of heat and humidity, where the air presses against your skin and the scent of living soil, 130 million years in the making, rises in warm, earthy waves. Thick vines coil around colossal trees like mythic serpents, twisting upward through layers of foliage in a relentless battle for a few precious rays of sunlight. The climate here demands both respect and endurance, shifting violently from blistering sunlight to sudden torrential downpours that can soak the entire jungle in minutes. Rivers wind through the interior in looping, unpredictable patterns, carrying driftwood, silt, and occasionally the silent, gliding shapes of crocodiles patrolling their territory. Each region comes with its own wild identity: Sabah's jagged peaks and mist-covered mountains, Sarawak's vast underground cave networks, Kalimantan's sprawling rivers and impenetrable swamps, and Brunei's untouched reserves that remain some of the most protected ecosystems on Earth. Above, the canopy rises so high and forms such an intricate ceiling of green that countless creatures will live and die without ever touching the ground. Orangutans sway through the branches above like orange shadows, weaving nests in treetops that hang like fragile hammocks suspended between layers of sky. Sun bears leave deep, unmistakable claw marks on tree trunks as they dig for honey and insects, their scratch patterns resembling ancient messages left by unseen hands. The rainforest vibrates with insect life, thousands of species chirping, buzzing, clicking, and humming in a chaotic orchestra that becomes the forest heartbeat. When night falls, the jungle transforms into a glowing and whispering realm where bioluminescent fungi shimmer, frogs call from hidden pools, and the flutter of wings creates constant movement in the dark. Local tribes glide through this environment with a level of grace and instinct only generations of knowledge can produce, reading animal tracks, river currents, and leaf patterns with the fluency of a written language. Their stories speak of guardian spirits dwelling in sacred groves and mythical beasts said to roam the most remote valleys, tales older than colonization, older even than recorded history. Some explorers report hearing strange rustling in the treetops when the air is completely still, or footsteps matching their pace from the shadows without any visible figure. Others swear the forest itself breathes, with mist pouring in and out of valleys as though the land is inhaling and exhaling in slow, steady rhythms. But Borneo's rainforest, for all its wonder, is not a place that forgives carelessness. Unpredictable storms can turn firm trails into slushy mudslides in moments. Thick undergrowth can conceal jagged ridges, deep holes, or enormous fallen trunks capable of injuring even experienced trekkers. Venomous snakes, camouflaged insects, and territorial animals blend into the brush so seamlessly that danger often goes unseen until you're already too close. Even the rivers require caution. Currents can surge without warning, fueled by rainfall that may have occurred miles away, far beyond what any traveler heard. And still, for those willing to brave its challenges, Borneo rewards every step with scenes that defy belief. Giant trees glowing softly in morning mist, entire cloud layers floating below mountain viewpoints, and insects shimmering like living gemstones beneath the sun. Vast limestone caves, some of the largest in the world, unleash spiraling storms of bats each evening, filling the sky in dark, swirling waves. Waterfalls crash through walls of vegetation, sending echoes that ripple across valleys like distant thunder from another world. Every step feels like uncovering a new mystery, as if the forest constantly reshapes itself, offering new secrets to those patient enough to explore. One essential travel tip: waterproof absolutely everything, from your clothing to your equipment, because in Borneo, the rain arrives without warning and respects no schedule. The Borneo rainforest remains one of Earth's final true frontiers, ferocious, mesmerizing, and alive in every sense of the word. Cameron Highlands, mossy forest, Pahang, Malaysia. High above the rolling peaks of the Cameron Highlands, the mossy forest unfurls like an ancient, secret kingdom sculpted by centuries of drifting mist, icy winds, and mountain legends carried on the breath of the sky. Locals say this forest was once the sacred gathering place of cloud spirits, which is why the fog doesn't just settle here. It embraces the branches as though returning to its ancestral home. The moment you step past the threshold, the world loses its sharpness. Light dims into a muted glow. Sound dissolves into a hushed stillness. And the air thickens into a cool, velvety breath that brushes across your skin like a whispered greeting. Moss cloaks every trunk, branch, and stone in layers so lush they resemble enchanted textiles woven from pure emerald, turning even the simplest twig into a jewel of green. Gnarled roots twist out of the earth like ancient serpents caught mid-motion, forming pathways and natural archways that feel carefully crafted by the mountains themselves. Along these routes, tiny orchids bloom in delicate clusters, catching fragments of filtered sunlight and blooming with a faint glow as the mist fractures, light into drifting silver dust. The aroma of the forest is a deep, earthy perfume, a blend of rain-soaked wood, damp soil, decaying leaves, and the faint sweetness of unseen flowers hidden beneath mossy curtains. Small streams thread through the undergrowth with such quiet grace they seem like secret messengers, carrying soft murmured stories through the heart of the forest. Birds break the silence in abrupt bursts, their calls echoing in a strange, otherworldly way, as if bouncing between invisible walls made of cloud and cold air. Folklore whispers that travelers walking alone may catch fleeting glimpses of pale, ghost-like figures drifting between moss-covered trunks, beings said to guard the Highlands' veiled passageways. Others claim certain trees creak even when the wind has died completely, their ancient wood groaning softly as though muttering warnings too old for human understanding. Some explorers insist they felt a cold brush at their back, sharp, precise, and chilling, despite the air standing still, a sign locals believe means a wandering spirit has passed by. Yet the forest's true dangers are far more earthly and immediate, beginning with the treacherous carpet of wet moss that turns every step into a slick gamble. Twisted roots rise beneath fog so thick they remain invisible until your foot has already caught on them. A reminder that the ground here is as unpredictable as the mist above. Moisture constantly drips from branches overhead, coating stones and wooden walkways in a slick sheen that demands slow, deliberate movement. The dense mist forms opaque walls of white, shrinking visibility to only a few meters, and making it frighteningly easy to wander off-path without noticing. The high altitude can shift the weather without warning. Sudden gusts of freezing wind tearing through the canopy, soaking clothing and numbing fingers within minutes. Insects thrive in the dampness, lurking beneath leaves and gripping moss-coated bark, often blending so perfectly into the greenery that you don't notice them until you're inches away. In some corners, the vegetation becomes so dense and heavily layered that even sound struggles to escape, creating eerie pockets of silence where the world feels suspended. But within that silence come the moments that define the mossy forest magic. Sunbeams splitting through fog like golden blades, droplets clinging to branches and sparkling like constellations on living wood. When the mist retreats for a fleeting moment, distant mountain ridges emerge like ancient giants stirring awake, their silhouettes veiled in drifting clouds. The forest feels aware of your presence, observing with a calm, quiet curiosity that makes every step both humbling and strangely intimate. Its beauty is fragile yet profound, a delicate dream sculpted by altitude, moisture, and the unbroken patience of time. Travel tip: bring gloves and high-grip footwear. Handling mossy surfaces with bare hands or weak soles can turn even a simple stroll into a dangerous slip. Among its swirling mist, hidden spirits, and treacherous charm, the mossy forest remains one of the rare places where nature speaks in whispers older than human memory, inviting only the respectful to listen. Mindanao rainforest, Mindanao, Philippines. The Mindanao rainforest feels like a realm carved from myth, rising across the island's mountains and valleys in sweeping layers of green that shimmer beneath drifting clouds as though the entire landscape is breathing in slow, ancient rhythms. Mist clings to the canopy every dawn, curling around treetops like spectral guardians, reluctant to retreat from their nightly watch over the wild. The deeper you venture into its heart, the more the world reshapes itself, fragrant with wet earth, wrapped in humid tropical warmth, and dimmed by a canopy so dense it transforms full daylight into a dusky, dreamlike twilight. Roots coil across the forest floor like colossal serpents frozen mid-movement, creating natural pathways that feel eerily intentional, as though carved by something far older than human hands. Moss hangs in velvet curtains from the branches above, swaying with the faintest tremor of the air, even when no wind can be felt. Hidden behind walls of thick, interwoven foliage, waterfalls reveal themselves without warning, exploding into view with thunderous roars that shatter the surrounding stillness. The air vibrates with the layered hum of insects, an unending chorus so complex and primal, it feels like the rainforest's pulse made audible. From the shadows, sharp-eyed monkeys observe travelers with quiet intelligence. Deer slip silently between trees, and Philippine eagles sweep overhead in powerful ghost-like arcs. Local legends whisper that the rainforest was once shaped by mythical beings, creatures who carved the rivers and molded the peaks with gestures so immense, their echoes still linger in the terrain. Even today, villagers speak of shimmering figures appearing at dusk near hidden streams, their outlines wavering like reflections before fading into rising mist. Some travelers describe the unsettling sensation of being shadowed by soft footsteps, footfalls that halt instantly the moment they turn around. Others swear they've heard distant flutes at night, melodies drifting through the dark with a haunting rise and fall, as if being played by unseen hands calling from another realm. Yet the forest's mystical reputation walks hand in hand with very real dangers. Unstable slopes that crumble without warning, ravines masked by undergrowth, and vines strong enough to entangle those who push carelessly forward. Heavy rains can transform gentle paths into rushing torrents of mud within minutes, sweeping debris across routes once safe. Predator tracks often appear near campsites by morning light, a stark reminder that the rainforest bows to no authority but nature's. Venomous insects lie hidden beneath fallen leaves, camouflaged so perfectly that even seasoned hikers fail to notice them until it's too late. Thick fog spills unexpectedly between trees, smothering visibility and dissolving familiar paths into formless white. Some secluded pockets fall under sudden, unnatural silence, a stillness so complete it feels as though the forest itself is listening with held breath. Yet these hazards only deepen the rainforest's allure, framing moments of beauty that strike with near spiritual intensity. Sunlight pierces the canopy in radiant columns, illuminating drifting dust like constellations suspended in midair. Rivers sparkle in hues of turquoise and molten gold, carrying reflections of shifting clouds across their undisturbed surfaces. Trees rise like living pillars, their crowns tangled with vines glistening from fresh rain, as if the heavens themselves were caught in their branches. Every clearing offers a glimpse of wonder, vistas so breathtaking they feel intentionally revealed to the quiet and patient. Cebu Rainforest, Cebu, Philippines. Long before anyone dared to chart Cebu's rugged mountains, people whispered of a place where clouds stooped low enough to touch the earth, and the earth answered back with murmured secrets that drifted toward the sky like smoke from an ancient fire. They said the forest there grew thick enough to swallow entire stories whole, and the bravest souls followed those tales into the island's wild interior until they reached the rainforest that now wraps around Cebu's mountainous heart like a living shroud. Crossing into it feels like stepping into a myth that continues writing itself with every breath of mist. A myth where every shadow pulses with hints of something older than human recollection. Mist winds itself through the trees in languid curls, wrapping around branches as if tracing forgotten timelines with delicate, invisible fingers. The air tastes cool, metallic, and primal, carrying notes of wet limestone, soaked bark, and leaves that have fallen in silence for centuries. Roots rise from the soil like frozen ocean waves, their surfaces slick yet strangely patterned, guiding travelers along narrow paths carved by relentless monsoon rains. Enormous trees arch overhead, their crowns merging to form a natural cathedral dome that filters sunlight into soft mosaics shifting across the forest floor. Ferns cluster in vibrant, feathery masses, brushing against your legs with every step like gentle warnings to slow down and pay respect. Rivers thread through ancient limestone formations like silver veins. Their waters so cold they sting the skin and send shivers up the spine. Fish flicker beneath the currents like shards of shattered moonlight, vanishing as quickly as they appear. Tribal lore tells of unseen guardians who reveal themselves as tall, shadowy silhouettes near hidden waterfalls or as sudden gusts of icy wind even under a cloudless sky. Some say these guardians protect the springs, sacred veins of the island, ensuring no mortal hand disrupts their eternal flow. Travelers have reported seeing lone figures standing motionless on distant ridges, silent and still as rock, disappearing the moment they blink or glance away. The limestone foundation beneath the forest is unpredictable, prone to fracturing and splitting, forming cracks deep enough to trap or injure the unwary. Wildlife moves with instinctive unpredictability, especially near riverbanks where tension between predator and prey runs high. Insects thrive in the humidity, some offering harmless bites, while others deliver stings sharp enough to leave the skin burning for hours. Dense midday fog sweeps through the rainforest like a living curtain, swallowing visibility and muting sound until the world feels suspended in a dream or a warning. Yet danger walks side by side with breathtaking wonder, cascading waterfalls hidden behind draping vines, turquoise pools glowing like liquid gems, and high cliffs coated in thick moss that hangs like royal cloaks. Occasionally, sunlight pierces the canopy in striking shafts, creating warm pools of glimmering gold that look almost ceremonial. Birdsong rings out from unseen perches, their calls echoing through the mist with a haunting clarity that resembles distant bells or ancient summons. Travel tip: always bring a sturdy trekking pole. Cebu's rainforest floor may appear soft and forgiving, but its limestone traps, shifting stones, and slick ledges are infamous even among seasoned hikers. In this rainforest, every step feels like walking deeper into a legend, one still unfolding between the trees, written by cloud, stone, and the quiet breath of the island itself. Sumatra rainforest, Sumatra, Indonesia. They say the island once belonged to giants, colossal beings who carved entire rivers with the weight of their footsteps and molded mountains with their immense hands, leaving behind a landscape shaped by myth rather than time. When the giants vanished, the Sumatra rainforest rose over their abandoned kingdom, weaving thick moss, tangled vines, and whispering leaves over every trace of their ancient dominion. Step into that forest today, and it still feels imbued with the remnants of legend, as though the land has never forgotten the stories etched into its soil. Mist clings to the canopy like the soft breath of sleeping spirits, drifting slowly from branch to branch as if patrolling the treetops. Roots twist upward from the earth like enormous, gnarled fingers, gripping the ground with a strength that feels unnervingly intentional. The air presses around you, saturated with the scent of sap, soaked bark, and the metallic tang of rainstorms gathering somewhere beyond the hills. Sunlight rarely enters in full. When it does, it spills through the gaps in thin, trembling beams that resemble delicate threads, stitching heaven and earth together. Birds streak across the shadows in sudden flashes of color, their cries echoing through the valleys like distant warnings, too ancient to decipher. High above, orangutans swing between towering branches with a slow, deliberate grace. Their movements so ritualistic they seem like guardians performing a sacred dance. Monitor lizards scuttle across fallen logs, their claws scraping bark with sharp, rhythmic precision that slices through the silence. Local legends warn of night spirits who wander the riverbanks, taking the shapes of fleeting silhouettes that appear for a heartbeat before dissolving into the rising mist. Some villagers speak in hushed tones of a creature with eyes that glow like embers, watching, waiting, hidden behind curtains of leaves too dense for light to penetrate. Travelers recount hearing footsteps pacing them from afar, echoing faintly through the undergrowth, yet never advancing close enough to reveal who or what walks beside them. Others claim the forest emits a low, steady hum before heavy rain, as if the earth is vibrating in anticipation, like a colossal drum beating beneath the surface. But here, myth and danger are intertwined, inseparable threads woven into the fabric of Sumatra's wild heart. Thick vines dangle across trails like natural snares, crafted with uncanny precision, waiting for an unwary hiker to misstep. Sinkholes hide beneath innocent-looking layers of leaves, dropping several feet into shadowy pits without a whisper of warning. Thunderstorms explode without mercy, turning calm mountain slopes into churning torrents of mud and water. Even gentle-looking streams can swell into violent, thrashing rivers in mere minutes, swollen by rain falling far beyond your sight. Snakes lurk in the cool shade, coiling silently, their patterned scales blending effortlessly into the forest floor until they are nearly invisible. Yet the rainforest stuns between its threats, waterfalls shimmering behind veils of green, colossal flowers unfurling in total silence, cliffs rising toward peaks wrapped in flowing robes of cloud. Caves echo with slow, ancient drips, their chambers so untouched they feel preserved by the forest itself, sealed off from time. At dusk, fireflies awaken in shimmering swarms, circling tree trunks in glowing patterns that resemble drifting constellations fallen from the sky. Travel tip: never begin your trek in late afternoon. Fog rises with startling speed here, and once it settles, the paths dissolve into white nothingness, as though swallowed by legend itself. In Sumatra's rainforest, every step feels like stepping into the living pages of a story the island has been telling since the beginning of time, one written by earth, shadow, and the ancient breath of giants. Nagaland forests, Nagaland, India. The first thing you notice is how quickly the road vanishes behind you, swallowed whole by hills rising in dark, rolling waves that seem to shift with every breath of wind. A few more steps forward, and the familiar clamor of civilization dissolves, replaced by a deep, resonant hum pulsing from the Nagaland forest as though the land is humming a forgotten song. It isn't silence, not even close. It's the sound a vast, breathing landscape makes when no eyes are watching and no human voice interrupts its rhythm. These forests cloak the Naga Hills in massive, sweeping blankets of green, climbing steep ridges and plunging into shadowed valleys with a wild, unstoppable force. The air is crisp and clean, brushed by cool mountain winds that whistle sharply through the pines, sending needles trembling in soft metallic shivers. Trails twist unpredictably across the rugged terrain, bending around ancient boulders and roots so massive they feel like relics from another geological age. Tall hardwoods rise overhead like pillars, their branches weaving shifting corridors of shadow and filtered gold that move as clouds drift overhead. Bamboo shoots pierce the sky in dense clusters, forming long, echoing tunnels where even your softest footsteps ricochet like whispers. Below, the forest floor is carpeted in thick ferns that sway in unison, rising and falling like green waves whenever the wind sweeps through. Hornbills cut across the canopy in low, heavy arcs, their wings creating a deep, whooshing sound that can startle even the most experienced trekkers. Wild elephants roam through certain pockets of the forest, leaving behind massive tracks the size of cooking pots, stark reminders that these hills belong first to nature. Local tribes share tales of ancient hunters who once mastered the language of the forest, reading rustles in leaves, decoding bird flight patterns, interpreting the direction of the wind like scripture. Some even claim those hunters still walk these hills, silent as ghosts, unseen but always aware of every newcomer entering their realm. Climbers often confess to feeling watched, as though eyes linger just beyond the line of vision, observing, measuring, deciding. Weather shifts without warning here. Sunlight can vanish in seconds as fog spills over ridges like white tides rolling in. Rain transforms familiar dirt paths into slick, treacherous channels, forcing even confident trekkers to slow their pace or risk tumbling down steep slopes. Insects thrive in the forest's moist pockets, rising in dense, shimmering clouds whenever the vegetation is disturbed, filling the air with movement. Steep ridges push hikers to their limits, demanding balance, stamina, and unwavering focus as the hills test every step. But the rewards are unmatched. Vast panoramas of layered hills that fade into soft blue horizons, rippling endlessly toward distant borders. Hidden waterfalls that burst from narrow rock crevices, plunging into misty pools carved over centuries. Clear mountain streams so pure and cold they taste sharper than ice, refreshing enough to erase hours of fatigue. Old tribal shelters crafted from bamboo still stand in quiet corners of the forest, their strength undiminished by decades of monsoon rain. And then there are the sunsets, vast glowing washes of orange, amber, and rose that settle over entire valleys like warm, golden blankets. Travel tip: pack light but wear ankle support boots. The forest's uneven, unpredictable ground will test every step you take. In Nagaland's forests, adventure doesn't simply wait for you. You step directly into it the moment the hills close behind you and the outside world disappears. Palawan rainforest, Palawan, Philippines. The old islanders say that Palawan was shaped by sleeping giants, and that over centuries, the rainforest grew across their massive bodies like a blanket woven from dreams, memories, and the quiet breath of the earth itself. If you listen closely at dawn, when the sky is still pale and the forest not yet awake, they say you can hear those giants breathing beneath the ground, slow and steady, like the heartbeat of the island. Step into the rainforest, and the legend suddenly becomes startlingly believable. Everything moves with deliberate, ancient intention, as though the land remembers every age it has lived through. Mist lifts from the canopy in slow, curling plumes, rising like smoke from an invisible fire smoldering somewhere deep within the jungle's heart. Roots twist out of the soil like the fingers of something enormous buried long ago. Their shapes so uncanny they seem sculpted by myth, not nature. Leaves shimmer under delicate beads of dew, catching the early light in bursts of silver that blink like tiny stars dropped onto the forest floor. Limestone towers rise above the treetops, their jagged crowns disappearing into drifting clouds as though they pierce a world no human eyes can see. Small birds dart through narrow gaps between trees, streaking the air with flashes of color so quick they feel almost unreal. Waterfalls plunge from hidden cliffs, their thunder rolling through the rainforest like ancient drums calling something forgotten. The pools beneath them glow in impossible shades of turquoise, still pristine and cold enough to feel enchanted, as if untouched since the dawn of time. In certain secluded groves, locals whisper about gentle spirits who dwell there. Shy guardians said to appear as tiny flickering lights that vanish the moment you look directly at them. Travelers have claimed to hear soft voices drifting through limestone caves at night, haunting melodies too old and too sorrowful to identify. Others speak of shadows gliding between trees, even when the air stands perfectly still. Their movements too fluid and too intentional to be tricks of the light. But Palawan's rainforest contains dangers as real and tangible as its myths, hazards that demand respect from anyone who steps beneath its emerald canopy. Moss-covered stones crumble under careless weight, sending hikers sliding down steep slopes with no warning. Slender ridgelines narrow abruptly, their edges concealed beneath curtains of vines that can hide sudden, unforgiving drops. Insects thrive in the moisture-rich air, rising in biting swarms that overwhelm unprepared travelers. Snakes coil silently in pockets of cool shade, their colors merging perfectly with leaves and bark until they vanish from sight. After heavy rain, flash floods tear through the lower paths with astonishing speed, transforming calm trails into rushing torrents. Yet amid these dangers, the rainforest gifts moments so magical they feel like pieces of another world. Sunbeams slicing through morning fog like golden blades, orchids blooming where no soil should exist, cliffs glowing molten gold beneath the setting sun. Even the silence here feels alive, thick with untold stories and the weight of years held gently in the folds of the canopy. Streams murmur softly as they wind around fallen logs, their whispers blending with the rustle of leaves overhead. The forest itself seems to watch, patient, curious, and impossibly old. Travel tip: always check weather forecasts and carry proper waterproof gear. Palawan storms arrive with little warning and can reshape entire sections of jungle within minutes. Wander long enough beneath its towering trees, and the Palawan rainforest begins to feel less like a place and more like a living legend, one with its own pulse, its own breath, and its own ancient story unfolding quietly beneath the canopy.